Greetings, online U.S. history students. This video will go over the course expectations for completing short answer questions. This will be very helpful to know because all of your Unit 1 exam questions will be in the short answer format. So what we have here is our first assignment for day 2 of the online course. And we're going to scroll through all the directions and the benchmarks and standards. And we'll go to part 3 of this assignment, which is the section that you're on. You're right now watching this video link here. And for completing short answer questions, you're going to get a prompt like this on your unit exam. So select one of the 3 geographic regions above. We have Northeast, Plains, or West. And in complete sentences, explain using specific evidence how geography influenced Native American societies settled in those regions. So on our short answer questions, when you receive them, you'll be told how many points they're worth. This one's worth 5 points. The question itself will always be in bold, so it stands out. So there's the prompt. And then below will be the criteria for where those points are awarded. So there's 5 points for this question. 2 of those points are given for explanations about 2 effects that geography had on Native American societies. The next 2 points are awarded for using specific evidence to support your claim or your answers. In this case, your answers would be those effects. And then there's always going to be a point awarded for using proper grammar. This essentially means complete sentences, capital letters, periods. It should be written in an academic format. So we don't want bullet points, don't want lists, or partial sentences. It should be complete sentences. Some terms to be aware of. So like when you see a short answer question, the word claim is a statement that answers the question or prompt. So like you'd be making 2 claims in this question here. That'd be ways that geography affected one of these regions or the Native American tribes in one of those regions. Then the next part is specific evidence. This is really key. Every time you make a claim in a short answer, you need to back it up with some type of specific evidence. That could be historical people, relevant places, particular events in history, dates sometimes work for it, or even like terms, like the Columbian Exchange would be a term you could use for evidence. You need to actually use those specific terms. You don't want to be too general or too vague. So for this prompt, you need to have at least 2 pieces of specific evidence, 2 like names or 2 terms or 2 key topics that help you support your claims to get both those points. And then the other one is to explain, to make an idea clearer by describing it in more detail and making connections with your evidence and your claims together, your responses. So like if you were just to list, just state 2 effects that geography had on Native American groups in one of these regions, you're not really explaining it. You need to explain how the geographic features of that region led to this development or this effect. You have to talk about it in detail. Usually when you explain something, it takes 2, maybe 3 sentences. So your short answer responses typically should be about 4 to 6 sentences long. They should be a handful of sentences. If your response is only like 1 sentence, either you're not using very good grammar because this is a giant run-on, or you're not putting enough explanation into your response. So it's really not that complicated, but it's kind of good just to go over it again. When you get short answer questions, you'll get a prompt. It'll usually be bolded. The criteria that you need to do is listed below. And it's really important that you write in complete sentences and that you explain your answer to get full points. Don't just make statements. You need to explain them with appropriate details. Now, one last thing about our short answer question prompts. This question here is actually one of the possible test questions in your test bank for the Unit 1 exam. So you might actually get this question when you take the test on Friday or sooner. If you look at it, select one of 3 regions and explain how that geography affected the Native American society. This is almost identical to the question in your I Can Statement Study Guide. So right here is your Unit 1 I Can Statement Study Guide. And if we go down to the very first I can statement, it says, I can explain with specific evidence, so you want that proof to back up your claim, how geography impacted Native American societies living in at least 3 of the following regions. And these are the regions here that are discussed in the activity and you might get to pick from when you get the prompt. So like the activity you're doing, that graphic organizer and the video you watched before or the reading that you did before, It gives you information to answer this I can statement. And this I can statement will be directly asked of you on the unit exam. Like, again, this here is a prompt on our first unit exam test. And you are, it's almost worded identical to our I can study guide. So if you have this study guide filled out with lots of evidence and examples, there's nothing on our unit exam that's going to surprise you or blindside you, and you'll be very successful. And this being an online course, you're totally welcome to use this I can statement on the unit exam. So hopefully you see the alignment there and the value of completing the study guide before you do the unit test. If you have any questions about short answer questions, please contact me via email and we can set up a WebEx meeting or a Google Meets meeting to discuss in greater detail. Have a great day.